Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's British literature class. So, I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl yesterday. I'm sure if you were pulling for the Patriots, you did. And I hope that everybody's got their books now. So, I know that some of you have been struggling to get them. I know that the bookstore has not made it easy on you, but I'm hoping that by this point you got them and can continue on. And one reason it's important to have the books this week is because we're getting into Mary Wollstonecraft, and you're only going to have to read about 6 pages of the Vindication. So pay attention to your reading schedule. It'll tell you what 6 pages they are. Really, I think it's the first 6. It's the letter and then the introduction part. After that, it kind of gets a little repetitive. Basically, Wollstonecraft makes the same argument over and over again. And so really, those first 6 pages will give you an idea of her argument for why women should receive the same education that men do. If it turns out that you like it enough and you want to continue reading, then by all means go ahead and do so, but it's not required. Then you're going to have William Blake. He is an interesting poet because he's a little bit earlier than the Romantics, but he's still grouped with the Romantics. So what you'll see there is you're going to see 2 poems, The Lamb and the Tiger, which are 2 sides of the same coin, which is God created the gentle lamb, but God also created the ferocious tiger. And please do not say that tigers are evil, because tigers are not evil. Tigers just do what tigers do. They happen to kill to eat, but that's the way they were designed. They were not designed to be evil creatures, but they are ferocious and they are carnivores. So you can look at that and compare those 2 poems there. And then the other thing I have you reading is John Keats. John Keats died very young, and it's ironic that he died very young because his entire, one of his biggest themes in his poetry is immortality or eternal life. And you're going to see that in the readings you have this week from the Elgin Marbles and from Ode on a Grecian Urn. And as you read those, think about how time wears on a person and how as a person ages, he or she gets weaker and more sick and stuff. And, so like, for example, the part about the eagle looking up at the sky, that it used to dominate, but now it's too old to be able to fly anymore. And how the Elgin Marbles, which actually came from Greece, they were a part of the Parthenon, how those Elgin Marbles, they're still around, but they're showing signs of age. And the Grecian urn, immortality, and yet people are frozen in that immortality. And is that a good thing? So you can look at that as well. So those are your 3 authors this week. 3 very different authors. Mary Wollstonecraft, who is probably considered the earliest feminist writer. William Blake, who really never intended for his poetry to still be read or to be published. He was more of an artist, and yet we're still reading his poetry. And John Keats, a young man who died young and yet produced a ton of work in his 26, 27 years, and was obsessed with the theme of immortality. And to a certain degree, the fact that we're still reading his poetry means that he did achieve some form of immortality. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I hope you enjoy this week's readings.